The colony was silent when the pirate ship landed. Smoke still rose from the ruins of broken houses. The villagers gathered in fear, hiding behind walls, whispering, praying that the monsters would leave them alone this time. Everyone knew the name of the pirate captain. He was ruthless, feared across many star systems. Where he walked, cities burned. Where his shadow fell, people vanished. He was a nightmare made real, and today his ship had come for them. The ship's metal ramp touched the ground with a heavy thud. The air grew colder as armored pirates marched out, their eyes glowing red, their weapons humming with deadly power. Behind them walked the captain himself, taller than any human, his skin like black stone, his teeth sharp as knives. His voice thundered when he spoke. "Bring me your food, your gold, your young. Bow and you may live. Resist and you will all burn." The villagers lowered their heads. Mothers covered their children. Men clenched their fists but stayed silent. Everyone knew resistance meant death. But in that heavy silence, someone moved. It was not a soldier, not a leader, not even a grown man. It was a boy. He stepped out from the crowd, small compared to the towering pirate. His clothes were torn, his hands rough from work. His face carried scars of struggle, but his eyes burned with something stronger than fear. The boy did not bow. He walked into the open ground and stood straight, staring up at the giant. The villagers gasped. "What is he doing?" "He will be killed," someone whispered. Mothers tried to pull their children back, afraid the pirate would kill them all. But the boy did not move. His voice, steady and clear, echoed across the ruined street. "We have nothing left to give. Take me if you dare, but you will not take this world." The pirate laughed, a sound like thunder shaking the ground. His crew joined him, their laughter cruel and mocking. "A human child stands against me?" The captain growled. "Do you think you are a hero? You are nothing. I have crushed fleets. I have broken warriors greater than you." But the boy did not tremble. He only raised his chin higher, his eyes sharp like fire. "Maybe I'm nothing," he said. "But today you will remember me." The pirate stopped laughing. His glowing eyes narrowed. He had expected begging. He had expected tears. Instead, a child was standing before him, calm, unafraid. For the first time in years, the great pirate felt something strange. He felt hesitation. The crew moved forward, ready to grab the boy, but the captain raised his hand. "Wait," he ordered. His deep voice carried a tone the villagers had never heard before. Uncertainty. "Tell me, boy, why do you not run?" The boy's answer was simple. "Because I have already lost everything. What more can you take from me?" The words fell heavy in the air. The villagers shivered. The pirates frowned. For a heartbeat, silence covered the ruined town. Then slowly the boy smiled, not with joy but with defiance. A smile that said, "I am not afraid of you." The pirate's jaw tightened. He stepped closer, towering above the boy like a mountain. His shadow swallowed the child whole. "You dare smile at me?" the captain asked. His voice was low, dangerous. "Do you not understand who I am?" But the boy did not move. His feet were firm on the ground. His eyes did not break. "I know exactly who you are," he said, "and that is why I will not move aside." The villagers could not believe what they were seeing. A child was speaking to the most feared pirate in the galaxy, as if he were nothing more than a common thief. The air trembled with tension. Every second felt like the moment before a storm. The pirate captain leaned down, his sharp teeth close to the boy's face. The crew waited, ready for the kill. The villagers closed their eyes, expecting to hear the boy's scream. But instead, something else happened. The boy's smile widened and his voice rang clear. "You may destroy me, but you will never conquer us." The pirate froze. His hand raised to strike did not fall. In the depth of his cold heart, something stirred. A memory of fear, of facing an enemy who would never bow. He saw not a child, but a fire that no blade could cut. The villagers opened their eyes. They saw their greatest enemy standing still, his weapon lowered, his face unreadable, and they saw the boy still smiling, unbroken. For the first time in living memory, the ruthless pirate did not know what to do, and in that moment, the galaxy shifted. The boy stood still, his eyes locked on the pirate captain. The villagers held their breath, waiting for the child to be crushed in an instant, but the captain did not strike. His hand, heavy with power, lowered slowly. His glowing eyes studied the boy as if he were some strange creature the galaxy had never shown him before. "Enough," the pirate growled at last. "I will not waste my blade on a child." He turned to his crew and snarled, "Take him. Break him in front of the others." The pirates moved forward with wicked smiles. They were massive, armored, their boots crushing the broken ground beneath them. They expected the boy to scream, to run, to beg for mercy. Instead, he reached into the dirt, picked up a sharp stone, and stood ready. The first pirate reached out laughing. "Come here, little worm." The boy's hand shot up. The stone flew through the air, striking the pirate's glowing eye. The warrior howled in pain, stumbling back. The villagers gasped. No one had ever dared to touch a pirate, let alone wound one. The boy did not wait. He dashed toward the ruins, vanishing into the shadows. The pirates roared in anger and gave chase, their heavy armor clanking as they ran. The captain stayed behind, watching with narrowed eyes. Something deep inside him whispered, "This child is dangerous." The ruins became the boy's weapon. He knew every broken wall, every hidden corner. The pirates were strong but slow. Their armor caught on twisted metal. Their boots slipped on rubble. The boy moved like a shadow, darting through holes, climbing walls, and vanishing before they could catch him. One pirate turned a corner and stepped into a trap. The boy had stretched a wire between two fallen beams. The pirate tripped, crashing down. His weapon clattered to the ground. Before he could rise, a heavy stone struck his helmet. The boy had dropped it from above. The villagers, watching from a distance, began to whisper. "He fights them. He tricks them. He is making fools of them." Hope, long dead in their hearts, flickered again. The pirates grew furious. "Find him!" one shouted. "Tear this place apart." Their weapons blasted holes in the ruins, but the boy was always one step ahead. His small frame slipped through cracks they could not follow. His speed outmatched their strength. Another pirate tried to corner him, but the boy leapt down from a rooftop, landing on the alien's back. He grabbed a metal rod from the ground and smashed it against the pirate's helmet until sparks flew. The alien collapsed, groaning. The boy stood tall on the fallen body, breathing hard, his eyes glowing with fierce determination. He looked nothing like a child now. He looked like a warrior born from fire and loss. The pirate captain finally moved, stepping closer to watch. His sharp teeth clenched in frustration. He had seen soldiers crumble before his power, but this boy, this fragile human boy, was humiliating his crew. "Enough games," the captain roared. "Bring him to me, or I will burn this entire colony to ash." The pirates, ashamed of their failure, redoubled their efforts. They spread out, their glowing eyes scanning every corner. The boy knew he could not fight them all at once. His chest burned with exhaustion. His legs shook, but his spirit did not falter. He whispered to himself, "I will not bow, not now, not ever." The pirates closed in from all sides. One of them raised his blaster and fired. The shot missed the boy by inches, blasting a hole in the wall behind him. The boy dove for cover, rolling into a half-collapsed building. Dust filled the air, making it hard to see. He coughed, wiped the dirt from his face, and smiled. This was his chance. He kicked a broken pillar and the building groaned. Stones began to fall. The pirates rushed in, but too late. The ceiling collapsed, burying them under rubble. The boy slipped out through a crack before the dust cleared. When the smoke lifted, the pirates lay trapped, groaning, their armor crushed by fallen stone. The villagers gasped in disbelief. One boy had done what no army had ever dared. He had made the pirates bleed. The captain's voice cut through the silence, low and dangerous. "Impressive, for a child, but you cannot hide from me forever." He stepped into the ruins, his massive frame filling the shattered doorway. The boy stood before him, small but unbroken. His chest rose and fell with heavy breaths, but his eyes still burned with fire. The pirate captain stared down at him. For the first time in years, there was no mockery in his tone, only cold curiosity. "Tell me, human, what are you?" The boy raised his chin, his voice steady. "I am what you fear most. A human who will never kneel." The villagers gasped again. The pirates snarled, and the captain's sharp teeth gleamed in a grim smile. The galaxy was watching. Somewhere, in the hidden networks where pirates recorded their raids for glory, this battle was being seen. Other worlds would hear the story. Other races would whisper the name of the boy who defied the most ruthless pirate alive, and the captain knew it. That was why his laughter returned, deeper and darker than before. "Very well," he growled. "If you want to fight, then fight me. But know this, little human. When I am done, your bones will scatter across the stars." The villagers froze. The boy did not. He simply tightened his grip on the rod in his hand and smiled once more. The first clash was only the beginning. The ruins shook with the sound of the captain's laughter. It was not the laughter of victory. It was darker, sharper, like the sound of chains breaking. The villagers pressed themselves against the walls, afraid to even breathe. The pirates who remained free stepped back as well, their glowing eyes fixed on their leader. They had never seen him laugh like this before. The boy stood in front of the captain, his chest rising and falling with quick breaths. His clothes were torn, his arms covered in dirt and bruises, but his spirit had not broken. His eyes still burned, steady as fire in the middle of a storm. The captain's laughter ended suddenly. His face twisted with fury. "Enough!" he thundered, his voice shaking the stones of the ruined colony. "You have mocked me long enough, human child. You have shamed my crew. You think yourself strong, but I will show you what true power is." He raised his hand and his crew obeyed instantly. Dozens of pirates spread through the ruins, their heavy boots striking the ground, their weapons humming to life. The villagers cried out, clutching each other, but none dared to interfere. The captain pointed at the boy. "Bring him to me. Break him. Crush his bones. I want the galaxy to see what happens when a human defies me." The pirates roared and charged, but the boy did not run. Instead, he slipped into the shadows of the broken streets once again, forcing the crew to chase him through the maze of rubble. The hunt began. The pirates fired their blasters, beams of light cutting through the dust, but the boy was always one step ahead. He ducked into holes, rolled behind walls, and used his small frame to vanish where the armored giants could not follow. His traps continued to spring, stones tumbling from rooftops, wires cutting across doorways, spikes hidden under piles of sand. Each time another pirate fell, cursing in pain and anger, the captain's rage grew. His sharp teeth ground together. His glowing eyes followed every move of the child. He had fought soldiers, assassins, even warlords, and none had troubled him like this. Yet here was a boy no older than 13, fighting like a ghost that could not be caught. The villagers, though terrified, began to whisper, "He is winning! Look at him. He is making them look weak." Some even dared to hope. Some even dared to smile. The boy heard their whispers. Their hope became his strength. His legs ached, his arms shook, but he kept moving. He could not stop now. One pirate managed to corner him near a collapsed wall. The alien raised his massive weapon, aiming at the boy's chest, but before he could fire, the boy hurled a shard of metal into the pirate's hand. The weapon spun away. The boy leapt forward, grabbing the alien's own arm and twisting it until a sickening crack echoed through the ruins. The pirate fell, howling. The villagers gasped again. The boy was not only surviving, he was defeating them. The captain could not believe what he was seeing. His crew, warriors feared across the galaxy, were being outmatched by a child with nothing but scraps and courage. Fury boiled inside him, hotter than any fire. "Enough," he roared again, his voice like thunder. His massive body moved at last. The ground shook as he stepped forward, pushing past his fallen crew. His glowing eyes locked on the boy. "You think you are clever? You think you can humiliate me before my men?" His claws flexed, sharp and gleaming. "Then face me yourself." The boy stood tall, though his body trembled from exhaustion. His hand tightened around the rod he had been using as a weapon. His voice, though tired, was steady. "I will face you. But know this, you will not break me." The captain's grin widened, showing rows of razor teeth. "We shall see." With a roar, the pirate lunged. His massive arm swung down, fast as lightning. The boy dove aside, rolling through the dirt. The ground cracked where the blow landed. Dust and rubble flew into the air. The fight had begun. The boy struck back, swinging his rod at the pirate's leg. The metal clanged against armor, but the captain barely flinched. He kicked, and the boy was thrown across the rubble, crashing against a wall. Pain shot through his body, but he forced himself up, refusing to stay down. Again and again the pirate attacked, each strike shaking the ruins. The boy dodged, barely escaping by inches. He struck back when he could, aiming at weak spots, throwing stones, striking exposed flesh. The captain growled in frustration. The villagers watched in silence, their hearts pounding. Every second felt like the edge of life and death. Finally, the boy managed a strike that mattered. He leapt forward and slammed the rod into the side of the captain's head, just beneath his helmet. The blow rang out. The pirate staggered for the first time, a dark streak of blood glistening on his skin. The villagers gasped. The crew froze. The galaxy, watching through hidden pirate feeds, went silent. The boy stood tall, breathing hard, his rod raised again. "You can bleed," he said. "That means you can fall." The captain wiped the blood from his face, his sharp teeth bared in fury. His voice was low, dangerous. "You will regret that, human." For the first time in many years, the ruthless pirate had been wounded. And for the first time, he realized the truth. This fight was no longer about pride. It was about survival, and his rage was only just beginning. The crowd of villagers stood frozen. They had just seen something impossible. A child had wounded the most feared pirate in the galaxy. The captain wiped the dark blood from his skin, his sharp teeth glinting under the pale light. His crew stared in silence, their pride shattered. None of them had ever seen their leader bleed before. The boy's chest rose and fell with heavy breaths. His body trembled from exhaustion, but his eyes still shone with the same fire. He tightened his grip on the metal rod, his knuckles white. Around him, the ruins of the colony seemed to echo with his defiance. The captain's deep voice rumbled like thunder. "You dare wound me? You dare humiliate me before my crew?" His glowing eyes burned with fury. He raised his clawed hand, but then he stopped. For a brief moment, his rage was replaced with something colder, curiosity. "Tell me, boy," the captain growled. "What makes you fight like this? Why do you resist when all others kneel? Why do you stand when you should already be broken?" The boy did not answer at once. His face turned toward the sky for a moment, toward the faint stars above the smoke. Memories surged inside him, sharp and painful. He remembered the day the pirates first came. He remembered his mother's scream, his father's desperate fight, the fire that consumed his home. He had been small then, too small to save anyone. But he had lived. He had lived with the weight of loss, with the promise carved into his heart. Never bow, never yield. He lowered his gaze back to the captain, and his voice came out steady, clear, and strong. "You ask why? Because you already took everything from me. My family, my home, my world. I have nothing left to lose. But I will not let you take my spirit. That is mine, and you will never break it," the villagers gasped. His words struck them like lightning. They had lived in fear for so long, bowing their heads, surviving but never fighting. Now this boy reminded them of something they had forgotten, the human spirit unyielding even in the darkest night. The captain narrowed his eyes. For a moment he said nothing. Then slowly he laughed. It was not the cruel laugh of before. It was something different, filled with dark amusement. "You are bold, human child, foolish, but bold." His sharp teeth gleamed. "Very well. If you want to die with honor, then I will grant it." He raised his arm high and declared to his crew, "No more chasing, no more traps, no more games. I will face him myself." The pirates growled uneasily. Some looked at each other with doubt. A duel between their captain and a human boy? It was madness. But none dared to speak against their leader. The villagers stared in disbelief. Their bodies shook with fear, but deep inside hope sparked brighter. One whispered, "He will be killed." Another whispered back, "Or maybe he will win." The captain stepped forward, towering over the boy like a mountain. "Do you accept, human?" The boy raised his chin. His body was weak, bruised, and tired, but his voice was steady. "I accept," the villagers cried out. "No, you cannot. He will crush you." But the boy only turned to them with a small, fearless smile. "Better to die free," he said, "than live as a slave." The words silenced them. Tears filled some eyes. For the first time, the villagers felt shame for their fear and pride for the boy who stood in their place. The pirate captain stretched his massive arms, his claws gleaming in the light. "Then let it be so. A duel of strength, a duel of spirit. When I win, your people will kneel forever." The boy's voice cut sharp through the air. "And when I win, you leave this world and never return." A hush fell over the colony. Even the wind seemed to pause. The villagers could hardly believe it. This child had just challenged the most ruthless pirate alive, and he had spoken as if the result was already certain. The captain grinned, showing rows of jagged teeth. "Then let the galaxy witness your death." But somewhere, deep inside, he felt something he had not felt in many years. Doubt. The boy stood ready, his rod clutched tightly in his hand. His legs trembled, but his spirit stood taller than the tallest mountain. He was no longer just a boy. In that moment, he was the voice of every human who had ever resisted, every soul that had ever refused to kneel. The villagers watched, hearts pounding, as the two figures faced each other. One was a monster feared across the stars. The other, a boy who had lost everything but his courage. The captain roared, his voice shaking the ruins. The boy raised his weapon, his eyes blazing. The duel was about to begin, and in that silent heartbeat before the clash, the galaxy held its breath. The ruins fell silent as the pirate captain and the human boy faced each other. The crew stood back in a wide circle, their glowing eyes fixed on the two figures. The villagers crowded behind broken walls, their hearts pounding. None dared to breathe too loud. This was no longer a raid. This was a duel, one that would decide everything. The pirate captain stretched his massive arms, each claw glinting like a blade. His voice carried across the ruined colony. I am feared across 10 systems. I have broken fleets. I have slaughtered kings. And now I will break you. The boy gripped the metal rod tighter. His body shook from exhaustion, but his eyes stayed sharp, steady, burning with fire. You can break my body, he said, but you will never break my spirit. The villagers shivered. The words rang in their ears like a song long forgotten. For the first time, they dared to believe. The captain roared and charged forward. His footsteps cracked the ground. He swung his massive arm down, claws ready to tear. The boy rolled aside, dust flying. The blow smashed into the earth, shattering stone into pieces. The boy leapt to his feet and struck back, his rod slamming against the captain's armored side. The sound rang out, metal on stone. The captain barely flinched, but the blow echoed across the ruins like a challenge. Again the pirate attacked, each strike faster than before. His claws cut through walls, his fists smashed broken pillars. The boy moved like a shadow, darting between rubble, using his small size as his shield. Each time he dodged, the villagers gasped. Each time he struck back, their hope grew. But the captain was no ordinary foe. His strength was endless, his rage boiling hotter with every second. At last, one heavy strike caught the boy across the chest. The rod flew from his hands. He crashed to the ground, rolling across the rubble. Blood filled his mouth. Pain burned through his body. The villagers cried out, some covering their eyes. He's finished, one whispered. But the boy, broken and bruised, forced himself to rise. His knees shook. His arms trembled. Yet his eyes, still bright with fire, looked straight at the towering monster. The captain growled, stepping closer. Stay down, child. I will make your death quick. The boy spat blood onto the ground and answered, his voice steady. I will never stay down. The captain lunged again, but this time the boy was ready. He snatched up a shard of broken glass from the rubble and slashed at the pirate's exposed arm. The cut was small, but dark blood spilled. The crew hissed in shock. Their captain had been wounded again, by a human child. The pirate roared in fury, swinging wildly. The boy ducked, weaved, and struck whenever he could, aiming for weak joints, exposed skin, sensitive wounds. Each hit was small, but they added up. The giant began to slow, his breathing heavy, his anger clouding his aim. The villagers watched with wide eyes. They saw something impossible. They saw a child not just resisting, but fighting back as an equal. At last, the boy found his rod again. He gripped it tight and rushed forward with all his strength. The pirate swung, but the boy slid low under his arm and slammed the rod against the side of the monster's head. The sound echoed like a bell. The pirate staggered, blood streaming from his temple. The villagers gasped, their whispers turning into shouts. He heard him! He can win! The captain, dizzy but unbroken, snarled. His eyes glowed brighter. You dare! You dare humiliate me before my crew! He swung again, wild and furious. The boy darted through the storm of claws, every movement faster than thought. His chest burned, his legs screamed with pain, but his spirit carried him forward. He struck again and again, each hit finding its mark. Finally, with a roar, the boy leapt high onto a broken wall and launched himself at the captain. His rod came down with all his strength, striking the side of the pirate's jaw. The giant fell to one knee, the ground trembling under his weight. Silence. The crew froze. The villagers held their breath. The boy stood before the kneeling monster, his rod still raised, his face pale but fierce. He spoke with a voice that shook more than any blade. You can bleed. You can fall. And today, you will. The pirate lifted his head slowly, blood dripping from his mouth. His glowing eyes met the boy's burning stare. For the first time in years, the ruthless pirate did not look invincible. He looked human. He looked afraid. The villagers erupted in cries, their voices rising like thunder. The crew shifted uneasily, no longer certain who their master was. The boy, though exhausted, stood taller than ever. He had turned the duel into something greater than victory or death. He had turned it into proof, the proof that even the smallest human could face the greatest monster and not bow. The pirate growled, his voice low, almost trembling. This is not over. But deep in his heart he knew the truth. The duel had already changed everything. The great pirate captain knelt in the ruins, blood dripping from his mouth, his sharp teeth stained dark. The boy stood in front of him, weapon raised, chest heaving, bruises covering his small frame. The villagers could hardly believe their eyes. The monster who had crushed entire fleets was on his knees before a human child. For a long moment, silence held the colony. No one moved. No one breathed. The pirates, standing in a wide circle, looked at their captain with disbelief. They had followed him for years, feared him, worshipped him as if he were unbreakable. And now they saw him brought low, not by an army, not by a hero from legend, but by a boy. The captain's glowing eyes narrowed. His deep voice rumbled. You are stronger than I thought. No ordinary child could do this. What are you, human? The boy's voice was rough but steady. I am nothing special. I am only what you fear the most. Someone who will never kneel. The words cut sharper than any blade. The crew stirred uneasily. Some looked away. Others whispered among themselves. They had seen courage before, but never like this. The boy's spirit was greater than his size, greater even than their captain's rage. The pirate captain growled and tried to rise, but his leg buckled. Pain shot through his body. He glared at the boy, but in his eyes burned something new, respect. He had been humiliated, yes, but he had also been shown something rare, a will he could not break. The boy stepped closer, his weapon steady. The villagers gasped, thinking he would strike the final blow, but he did not. Instead, his voice rang clear. Leave. Leave this world and never return. That is my demand. The pirates hissed in outrage. One shouted, Kill him! End this boy! But the captain raised his hand sharply, silencing them. His voice, low and rough, echoed across the ruins. You would spare me? After all I have done? The boy nodded. Killing you would make me like you. I will not become a monster. The villagers stared, stunned. Mercy, in the face of such evil. It was unthinkable, yet the boy's words carried a weight greater than violence. They carried strength, dignity, and honor. The captain's crew shifted uneasily. They had followed a leader who ruled through fear. Now they were watching a child lead through courage. Some of them began to wonder, who truly had the stronger spirit? The captain rose slowly to his feet, swaying but unbroken. He towered over the boy once more, but something had changed. His voice was no longer mocking. It was heavy, almost solemn. Very well. You have won this duel. You have my word. We will leave this world. His crew gasped in shock. Pirates did not retreat. They did not bow. But their captain, the Ruthless, beast feared across the stars, had just given his word to a boy. The villagers erupted in cries of disbelief and joy. Tears streamed down their faces. For the first time in years, hope flooded their broken hearts. They had seen their enemy bow, not with his body, but with his pride. The boy lowered his weapon, his arms trembling from exhaustion. He whispered almost to himself, "It is finished." But the captain's eyes lingered on him. For years he had believed humans weak, soft creatures to be conquered, broken, and sold. Now he knew better. This boy had shown him something terrifying. Humanity's strength was not in their weapons, not in their size, but in their spirit. He turned to his crew. "We leave. Now." Some pirates snarled in protest. "Captain, this is madness. You cannot bow to a child." The captain's glowing eyes flared. "Silence!" he roared, his voice thunderous. "You saw what he did. He fought me and stood unbroken. None of you could do the same. None of you." The crew fell silent, ashamed. The villagers watched as the pirates gathered, their weapons lowered, their pride shaken. One by one they retreated toward their ship. The captain was the last to move. He paused, looking back at the boy. "You are dangerous," he said quietly. "One human child has done what no army could. If all of your kind share your spirit, then the galaxy should fear you." The boy did not reply. He only stood, silent and steady, his eyes still burning like fire. The captain turned and walked away, his massive frame vanishing into the smoke. His ship lifted into the sky, its engines roaring, and then it was gone. The colony erupted in cheers. Villagers ran to the boy, lifting him onto their shoulders. Their voices rose together. "He saved us. The boy saved us." But the boy did not smile. He looked up at the stars, his heart heavy. He knew this was not the end. The pirate had left, yes, but the galaxy was wide. His story would spread, and with it new dangers would come. Yet deep inside he also knew something else. For the first time, the galaxy had seen what a single human could do, and they were afraid. The pirate ship rose into the night sky, its engines roaring as it left the colony behind. The villagers stood in silence, watching the monster who had ruled their fears vanish into the stars. When the sound faded, they turned to the boy who still stood in the ruins, his rod slipping from his hand at last. His body shook, his face pale, but his eyes remained steady. For a long moment no one moved. Then a single cheer broke the silence. It was small at first, uncertain, but soon more voices joined. The cheer grew louder, swelling into shouts that echoed across the broken colony. "He did it. The boy saved us." Mothers wept. Fathers lifted their children high, and the boy, though weary and battered, was raised onto their shoulders. But far beyond the colony, in the hidden networks of the galaxy, another storm was rising. The pirates had not come quietly. They had recorded the duel, as they always did, to boast of their victories. But this time the story was different. This time, instead of showing their captain crushing another helpless world, the feed showed something new. A human boy, unarmed but unbroken, fighting the most ruthless pirate alive. The recording spread like fire, carried across black markets, taverns, secret channels, and military outposts. On one world, a council of alien leaders gathered around a screen. They watched the boy wound the pirate, watched him stand tall when he should have fallen. One leader whispered, "If a human child can do this, what will their warriors be capable of?" Another muttered, "Perhaps the humans are more dangerous than we believed." In another system, a group of mercenaries replayed the duel again and again. Their laughter at first turned to silence. One of them shook his head. That boy fought with nothing but scraps, yet he forced the great pirate to kneel. "If humans have this spirit, I want no part in fighting them." Even the pirate fleets themselves were shaken. Whispers ran through the ranks. Some began to doubt their captain's invincibility. Others began to wonder if perhaps deep down they respected the child more than the man they followed. The galaxy was stunned. Back on the colony, life began to stir again. The villagers cleared rubble, rebuilt homes, and for the first time in years they did it without fear. Hope had returned, carried on the shoulders of a boy who had refused to bow. One night, as the stars shone bright above, an old villager sat beside the boy. The elder's voice was soft but full of awe. "Do you understand what you have done, child? You have not only saved us. You have changed how the galaxy sees us. They will speak your name in every starport in every system. You have shown them what it means to be human." The boy looked down at his scarred hands. He did not feel like a hero. His body still ached, his heart still carried the weight of loss. He thought of his family, gone forever, and his smile was sad. "I only did what I had to do," he whispered. "I only refused to kneel." The elder nodded. "And that is why you are greater than any warrior. Heroes are not born in power. They are born in defiance." The boy lifted his gaze to the stars. Somewhere out there, the pirate captain was nursing his wounds, his pride broken. His fear knew. The boy knew this was not the end. The galaxy was vast, filled with empires, tyrants, and monsters greater than the one he had faced. Word of him would spread, and not all who heard would come with admiration. Some would come with fire, but he did not fear it. His heart burned with the same fire that had carried him through the duel. If the galaxy came for him, then the galaxy would see again what a human spirit could do. And perhaps he thought this was not only his fight. Perhaps this was the beginning of something larger, a reminder to all humanity, scattered across the stars, that even in the face of the impossible they could rise. The villagers celebrated into the night, their laughter and songs carrying through the ruins. Children played among the stones, no longer hiding in fear. For the first time, the colony felt alive again, but above, the stars shimmered with quiet warning. The boy stood apart, watching them, his jaw firm, his eyes sharp. He whispered to himself, words meant only for the sky. This is only the beginning. And the galaxy listened,